kind of, as you embark on this journey, go, okay, there is a goal, there is an endpoint. That's what it is. Yes, sir.
How would you like factor in duration? Like if it's going to be like a 10-year project or like a.
You would say, you would say like, hey, 15 years from now, I would like to be able to sell this company for X amount of dollars. Okay. It's like yesterday I had some people in Colombia like, yep, 5 years from now I'd like to exit this company for $5 billion. I'd be like, okay. I thought I was living in Fantasyland. You're seeing dragons and unicorns run across, your porch there. So from that aspect, I tried to like, okay, I'm like didn't quite understand the assignment, so which is why I'm kind of referencing that this morning. That's communication error on my point, not so much on their turn. So. All right, any other questions? All right, starting from the back.
You always start with.
No matter where you sit.
Yeah. I'm going to switch it up next week just so I can test the theory.
We did.
Hey, I'm Oliver Lawless. I'm creating an app called Heirloom with my co-founder, Brian Mangum. I did not know the first thing about coding, Blake can tell you. So I went and found a co-founder that does know about coding, which has been awesome. We're building a digital platform that allows individuals and families preserve their legacies through essentially digital storytelling, which is really cool. So they can not just remember their legacies or their stories, but they can actually interact with their past, which is really cool. And then, like our goal would be $10 million and like peace out. However, if somebody was like, here's $1 million today just to walk away, I would totally take it. Yeah, and that's it. Did I hit everything?
Yep, and
Okay.
I forgot, my fault. Give me any wins you've had over the last week, any challenges you've had over the last week. This is the part in the morning where we're going over, hey, these things are going that are good. These are the things that are keeping me up at night. I'm making problems, I'm making mistakes, and I don't have the answers.
Okay, cool. So the good news, we'll start there, is that we're like 50% done with our MVP. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks I'll have something to actually show you guys, which would be really cool to get your feedback on the product and what you actually think about it. I would say challenges, time's always a thing. So the way that my brain works is I have to just segment my week up and lock in, knowing that 3 days a week from this time to this time, I'm working on Heirloom. And was there something else? Challenges, wins?
Nope, that's good.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And on that note, so for a lot of you, if you've got one of the things is time and focus. If you've got family, kids, and stuff, and you're trying to do this as your side gig at home, sometimes trying to have quiet time to get your thoughts in order and get stuff is a challenge. If you're close to here, okay, you're always welcome to come in, work on stuff. There's always coffee, snacks, and stuff in here to kind of just get away from everything. We try to make it so that it's kind of a step up from like switch yards where you're in there and there's 19,000 people using the Wi-Fi and stuff like that, and it's not Starbucks, but so that you don't have to you have a $1,000 membership to like the city club in order to sit down and actually meet with somebody. So that's always available. So all right, next.
I'm David D. Champs, and I'm working on an app. It's consumer-based, and it's focused on helping folks reorder the stuff that they use on a daily basis easier and save time and resources and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm focused on. I've got a lot of ideas that connect with that. So if someone liked it and offered, I don't know, $10 million, I'm just going to throw a number out there. May or may not be enough. I'll have to think about it. Maybe I would take that and walk away. But I have helped take 2 companies through an IPO, but was not a founder, so I can't quit my day job yet. So that IPO is not out of the question, and I'd be interested in possibly even acquiring some businesses that would be add-ons and vertical integration as well as horizontal. So that's an opportunity. But I do know what I don't know, and so I need the right people and the right founders, and I'm just getting started on that. So I'm looking for that talent.
Wins and losses.
Oh yeah, so my wins are not real great this week.
Okay.
We started a rough time, so I've had deadlines that were due actually January 31st and then today and tomorrow. And once I get those behind me, I'll be able to run a little faster. So that's my losses. Is just the day job, but I'm anxious to get out of that as quick as possible.
And over the next now 10 weeks, okay, we're going to try to give you guys tools from an organizational / planning perspective to get you more organized and help you take the time that you have and use it efficiently, okay? You know, in the age of AI and everything that exists out there, if we weren't providing and giving you tools to organize and use your time effectively and efficiently, then it would be a real shitty program. And we have a lot of people that are kind of jumping on board with trying to help you guys succeed. As an example, you know, Lovable has now decided, hey, they're going to start giving us credits, helping us help you guys. We had 4 or 5 people in Colombia yesterday. They're like, "Oh my God, this was great! I was spending literally $400 or $500 a month, and literally you just wiped that completely off for me, so I don't have to go do this and that and the other thing. This makes it more efficient." For some of the people that are like, "Oh, okay, I can now use a beta test group." Like we have that in the community. They're like, instead of me spending time to go find people I don't know to give me feedback, to tell me how things work or don't work, you know, I've got an actual community that's motivated to help me, because then I'm going to be helping them. So all of those tools, but we can't help you, you know, and we can't find those resources for you unless you communicate to us that you need them, okay? We are also an MVP. We're less than a year old. We don't have the valuation of Lovable at $60 billion for less than a year, but you know, hey. All right. Ron, you're up. Okay, so just, you know, so you're not, so the assignment or what we're doing this morning is, if somebody came to you tomorrow with a check to like buy your app and your idea and have you kind of shepherd that forward, what would that number be? And then any wins or losses over last week?
Okay. All right. And so it's the number that would make me, just thinking about it, the industry that I'm trying to go into is a $50 billion industry. So if you gave me a quarter of that, I would be fine. But so that would be the number that I would delete for, so a quarter of about 50 billion. So
Okay. So if I came to you tomorrow with $10 million and said, "Hey, I own this," you'd be like, "No, it's okay."
it's not, yeah, because I know that I could push that higher.
Okay.
I know that.
I want you on my team.
My wins is I finally got my company structure correct with C Corp, Delaware C Corp. So I'm ready for investors.
Good. Awesome.
My losses is after reading the lesson of MVPs. I wish I would have done something like Figma first to help me understand UI at least, because I don't know how to code at all.
Right. I'm right there with you.
So just to, like, when I was learning the lessons, I was like, oh wow, I missed the whole set there. Because I jumped straight into like Replit.
Yep.
And started coding and using AI and vibe coding. And it's like, what's this? What is that? What is it? So half my time is learning
Yep.
and not actually creating. And now when I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a mess. To me it is.
Right, yeah.
Somebody else might say, hey, this is good.
Yeah.
But to me it's like, it's a mess. And then the quote is, the quote that they said in the lessons, like, if you was it launch
VC.
Yeah, it's like you're too late if you launch like perfect or something like that.
Yeah.
And so that kind of made me feel a little bit better, but it's just like, man, this is a mess. Like, this is horrible. But I wish I would have learned like Figma or something like that.
So
That's my loss.
Tron brings up an interesting concept based on the ecosystem that we currently all reside in. So those people show name nameless, but I have literally people that are sending me messages based on what you guys are doing and saying, "Oh, you're doing these people a tremendous, disservice. And I was like, what? Well, it's not perfect, and you're telling them to launch. You're telling them to go out and do stuff. And respectfully, I'm like, okay, if it's perfect and it has no bugs and no errors and nothing, it's too late. And these are pillars in the community, I'll say, okay, people that I have great respect for, but it's kind of like looking at your parents and going, look, okay, there's a reason the 70s fashions died, let them go.
Yeah, come on.
But it's one of those things where, for lack of a better term, they're trying to do it and you'll see people say it on LinkedIn, the South Carolina way, which is fine. But if I am on a sports team and I want to win the Super Bowl, I'm not trying to reinvent the game of football. I am seeing who won the Super Bowl the last year, what plays they did, what kind of players they got, because they're the people I need to beat. And if you're out there and you're building a tech company, and if you're looking to raise money, and you're looking to be able to convince them to give you hundreds, if not millions of dollars, if they don't see that you've gone through the same iteration and the same learning path that they're familiar with, being everybody outside of South Carolina that's in the venture capital realm, Launch VC, Y Combinator, so on and so forth, then as far as they're concerned, yeah, you really don't get it. If you've gone through the same learning process and done the same stuff and it's in your data rooms, then people are like, oh, okay, you have the wisdom, you have the knowledge, you have the experience. You're not guaranteed any form of success, but they feel more comfortable going, okay, you've learned, you stubbed your nose, okay, you've cut yourself, you've drinking out of the, fire hose, you rode the big wheel, you sat in the back of a pickup truck and survived. So from that aspect, here's a check. So, all right, next.
All right, hey everybody, Brian here. The Acuitist, the branding sucks. I hate the name.
So on that note, real quick, so we had these people in the first cohort in Columbia that were building an app for food pantries, and they're 2 refugees from Ukraine. So them coming up with a name, they were like they were stumbling, struggling. I mean, it was bad. So they turned around and they were like, hey, we've got this community, and they just like, hey, this is what it is, name our baby, okay? And then they basically came out with Need No More, and it was like, oh, okay, it was catchy, it worked out, it got them the meeting with the city, so on and so forth. So if you are struggling with branding, okay, again, there are now 50 people in this cohort, 20, 20, and 10, okay? Reach out. So, sorry.
Okay, so I struggled with it for months. Using AI to try to cobble together names, doing internet research, URL search, all that crap. And finally I got to the point where I said, you know what, screw it, I need to launch. It doesn't matter what the name is, I'm gonna use this name. So
What's the name again?
Acuitist.
Acuitist.
So it's acuity and specialist put together. Acuitist. Capital advisory. It's an AI-powered application for business owners, bookkeepers, and accountants to run a capital structure analysis on any business. And $2.5 million. I have like 6 more ideas I need to develop.
Awesome.
$2.5 million. Take it. I'm done. Have a nice day. You can name it whatever you want.
There you go. Wins and losses.
And so the losses this week was fighting with Intuit to approve it for the App Store. 6 reworks.
Wow.
And they're in India, so you have to submit it, and then you have to wait 24 hours.
I know that pain.
Test it and come back, and because I'm vibe coding, sometimes AI will fix one thing but break something else.
Okay.
So there was a little bit of that going on. I'm not a coder. I'm more of a, I don't know what I am, but the win was actually this morning. I just got the email, congratulations, you've been accepted. Your app is now in the Intuit. QuickBooks Outstanding.
Thank you.
Thank you. So it is now live, and now I can start marketing it.
There you go.
There you go.
Because everyone I sent it to said, let me know when it gets in the App Store and we'll try it.
Okay. So
Secure.
on that note, I have about 14,000 people following me. I'm adding about 100 a day now. Of the 14,000 people, because of everything at Tax Titans, 13,000 of those people are accountants, CPAs, so on and so forth. So send me information. I will push it out there.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. And that is another thing. So LinkedIn is really great. You can make a post and you can schedule it to, launch and post at any point in time. Okay. I'm like a rabid person, so like you'll see like I'll make a post and then there's another post 5 minutes later, so on and so forth. So I unfortunately don't use that tool, so you can learn from my mistakes. Okay. So we had this conversation. I don't know if it was this class or they're all starting to blend together. But if you're trying to build a following, even if you're in stealth mode, okay, start building yourself up as somebody that is a person in that vertical, in that industry, okay, that people should be paying attention to, okay? It's not a vanity metric if you're sitting there and you're pushing stuff out and you are trying to inform people and provide them value-added information. So start trying to become that person now. And one of the things that, and I believe it's in one of the lessons that you'll take in Founder University, is what's called shadow marketing, okay? The concept of shadow marketing is you yourself are not an expert, okay? But somebody like Jason Calacanis is an expert, say, in, building startups and stuff. So he'll post something on the All In podcast this week in startups or an article, and then I'll reference his, repost it, and then put my spin on it. So, he's only followed by, I think, 2.5 million people or whatever in his podcast, about 800,000 people on LinkedIn. So the fact that he's a first connection with me makes all of their algorithms put it into other people's feed, anything that I repost that he's posted. Okay? So that's going to help you in the marketing aspect. There's an old saying that the first time founder obsesses on his solution and his product. A second time founder obsesses on distribution and go-to-market. Okay? I can tell you that is like literally gospel. Okay? So in that aspect, be able to do that. All right, next. You're up, sir.
You're up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My product is we have come up with the name.
Oh.
It's Heritage Pathway, and I'm kind of like a Neanderthal in this. I've been blown away by you guys, absolutely, totally, completely. To be perfectly honest,
Yep.
I do have other businesses, but I was setting up another business, and I signed up for this cohort by mistake. Really, seriously.
Happy accident. There you go.
Yeah, and then I met you, and then I actually started looking into it, and I was like, what the hell's MVP? I had to Google all that shit.
Yep.
So I basically started from like zero, absolutely nothing.
I was
and
you
he's
4
talking
years
about
ago.
adding this app, and I'm like, what in the world? Are they speaking English in here? I'm just like, oh God, what have I done? But my win is my co-founder, which is my wife. She's been hammering it out, and she got a list of stuff, and she can't make the meeting, so I have to make the meeting and just kind of be her sounding board. And the more I get into it, the more it's just like, oh, I can have like a business and not have to lift nothing or tote nothing. Do nothing. I'm like, this stuff is crazy.
You guys will be very.
Oh yeah, I'm right there with you.
And then she's like, and you met the guy, honey, and it's just fake. It's just an epiphany. And I'm sitting there going, MVP was what again?
Everybody you need is for a reason.
Oh yeah. So my product is ever evolving, and it's kind of like I look at businesses are kind of like my children or my babies, and I watch them grow, and then once they reach a certain point, yeah, you can. My magic number is $5 million.
Okay.
And I'll throw in 2 kids and a dog.
Don't tell my wife you're throwing in the dog. She'll be like, tell me I'm going to get $5 million.
I was like, can I just get the dog?
Yes. It's a lot
Someone
cheaper.
else
I've already had 3 kids. I don't need any more.
We've already raised ours.
Yes, we're done.
But so that's all. So I'm just kind of like feel like I'm behind the 8 ball because now I have to develop my project and pitch and do all this stuff. But the more I learn about it, the more fascinating it becomes. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I've gone down the rabbit hole like the Matrix. I took the blue pill.
Yep.
I'm just kind of like.
You guys.
Accidentally.
Because my wife's like, how's the cohort? I said, honey, it wasn't quite what I thought it was. She was like, really? And then we get into Lovable and writing codes and this and that. And I'm like, these guys are geniuses. How in the hell can I even coming in this one? I was like, uh-oh, I hope I can understand half the stuff they're saying. But I'm learning and I'm catching on, and I'll be fine, and I'll have my product exactly idea of what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, because I'm a people person, and I know what people like, and I know what drives people to sites, because I've been in sales for over 25 years. All right, that's my story.
Okay. So, and on that note, one of the nice things about the community and what we're doing, that you need to, be active in there, is that community that we've got is a evolving constitution / university and reference point. Stuff that we're telling you today by the next cohort, especially now with AI, may be obsolete. Okay. So from that aspect, having that in there, you've got a continued evolving network. And then I am connected to all of the people that are coming out of Silicon Valley with Founder University. So I belong to another circle community of all the people that Jason has written a check to and says, okay, you got to put all of your stuff into his other database. And then there's 4,000 other founders he's wrote checks to that I'm in the community with. So I get to see all of their stuff. Anything that I think is relevant to you guys, I'm like, ooh, that's great. I just take it and bring it over here. So from that aspect, that's one of the big things that exists for you guys that I didn't see 4 years ago that he just articulated very well. Okay? There was so much vocabulary and so much shit. I'm like, I am living on a different planet. This is insanity. How is it that I have an accounting degree, okay, from a great university in upstate New York, and I know none of this shit? I'm like, this is absolutely insane. And then when you get into funding, that's a whole nother world. And the only analogy that I can think of is the iceberg. We see in the news on Fox, CNN, whatever your flavor is, you see the Dow, you see the NASDAQ, you see money markets. That is literally the tip of the iceberg, and then there's the waterline. There is an entire world, literally of trillions of dollars, of the iceberg underneath the waterline that you can't see. People going, hey, here's $4 million, create that company. Hey, here is $5 billion, we're going to buy your company. And this was highlighted to me when I was creating Tax Titans, because Intuit was sitting there and I was worried about them competing against me and stuff they were doing, and I was hearing certain rumors. And my mentor, James Summers, who was down in Atlanta, who was a managing partner for E&Y, was explaining that what I was making was good and I didn't have the cost that Intuit had. And I was like, well, they have this and that, maybe they can make their own. And they're like, no, they just go around and buy things. Like they just bought MailChimp for $13 billion. And I was like, oh. And he goes, and you don't have that $13 billion worth of debt that they now have. They've got to make money on buying MailChimp. I'm like, how do you know so much about that? He goes, who do you think MailChimp's customer was at E&Y who negotiated the sale? And I was like, oh shit. Okay. So, there is an entire sub-market where people are literally, passing poker chips across the table that unless you kind of get the secret knock on the door, you guys don't know about, okay? The circle community and everything that we're doing to you, I'm showing everybody, hey, this is the secret handshake, the knock on the door, the password, go on in, okay? The beautiful thing about that community is if you have a question and you walk in and say, hey, I am literally the dumbest guy in the room, and trust me, I do this on a regular basis, they don't laugh at me, they don't ignore me. They literally take it as part of their responsibility to bring me up to the table, and they draw it out for me in crayon. And I'm like, okay, I get it now. Okay? And then I try to take it like Figma, and like, okay, how can I now articulate this so everybody else has the same information? Okay? So from that aspect, as you're going through this, and we'll go over some vocabulary today like I did yesterday, you know, that you're going to learn. That is literally the translation when you're talking to the people that you're looking to launch your product with a partner. If you're looking to raise money from an angel investor, an institutional investor, so on and so forth, just knowing 3 or 4 of those buzzwords makes them go, oh, okay, this person knows what you're talking about. They feel much more comfortable writing the check. Because unlike taking a company public, okay, taking a company public, you're looking at a tab of about $1 million. And as just to have people have the right to be able to buy shares of your company so you can raise money. The whole reason the VC world exists is very smart people that were building tech said, why the hell are we giving these institutional bankers $1 million of our money? Can't we just negotiate this on our own? If you're selling 20% of your company and you're trying to get $1 million, why am I going to pay somebody $1 million so I can give you $1 million? Let me cut the middleman out and just give you directly $1 million. You have an attorney sign over and give me 20% of your company. And then both of us are $1 million richer. The only person that suffers is the banker. Okay? Which is why that entire iceberg below the sea line is so flippin' huge. Okay? All right, next.
Me. All
You're
right.
up.
Let's go. Hello, everybody. I'm Cam Lawson. I'm working on an AI-powered calendar scheduler. It's called LinkSync. As far as exit strategy, I've done a TAM, SAM, SOM exercise, which I don't know if you guys have done that, but very worth it. But as far as my TAM, I've got 600 million digital calendar users worldwide. Then if you get that down into calendar schedulers, right, you have a link that you go in, there's 60 million in that, so that's my SAM. And then obtainable on that, my SOM, I would say 100,000 is very realistic, of enterprise sales teams, business sales teams, those that are going and meeting with multiple stakeholders on meetings. And so based on that, on I'm just gonna call average revenue per user is probably about $120. So 100,000 users, that's 10, 12 million of ARR.
Yep.
Let's take a 10x multiple on that, 100,000, I'm out.
There you go.
So as far as wins, I had a great meeting on Friday with a potential tech team, because I am not a coder, I don't know that. And so I met with some friends of mine that I hadn't even thought, and just out of proximity, I lived next door to one of their best friends, and he was like, you should totally talk to them, they can help you with this. It was supposed to be like an hour meeting, turned into 3 hours, and they were like, yes, we are in. So super cool, so pumped about that. And then things that are keeping me up, challenges, I found there is a competitor. There's another AI calendar scheduling tool out there that is backed by Sequoia, but it excites me because they got a $5 million seed round, which is like, all right, there's legs to this thing. And so I think my name's better. Theirs is called Block It, mine's LinkSync. Mine's better. And so, but it's exciting. So I think there's a lot of differences, but it allows me to stay, you know, it's like, all right, what are they doing? What am I doing? How can I build a moat around my thing? That kind of stuff. So, but it keeps you up, you know. Somebody
Now,
else is doing something.
on the competitions, okay, everybody take a look down at your shoes. I can guarantee you no 2 people in this room will wear the same pair of shoes. Okay? Okay? I can guarantee you no 2 people in the parking lot have the same car. I know just looking at you, all of you are wearing different clothes. Okay? I'm not even going to get into the underwear. But from that aspect, so from that aspect, don't be afraid of competition. Okay? You know, everybody is picking something to use as a tool or something based on what they either feel comfortable with. Okay? And that can be your moat. As an example, we use HubSpot right now for our CRM. HubSpot's great. They're like, oh, you're a founder, you're poor, you have no money. Great. We'll give it to you at 90% off. And then they go, okay, year 2, you survived. Great. You should you'd be making a little bit of money, now you get it at 50%. Year 3, if you're still in business, you're definitely making money, you're paying full price. Too damn bad. Okay? So, you know, that gets into what for next week that I want you guys to figure out. Is even if you're still figuring out what you're building and how that's going to look, okay, I want you to conceptualize what is my free hook, okay? You know, I grew up in Section 8 housing, so I always make the joke of, you know, what's the drug on the playground that someone's going to give me for free so that I turn around and I pay for it later. So from that aspect, you got to come up with, okay, is it you're going to get a dumbed down version of it that's bare minimum, and I get that to my customer. Am I giving them all of the tools, but you only get it for a limited amount of time, okay? And then after 30 days, 60 days, a week, whatever, we take it away from you. Figure out what your freedom is, okay? From that aspect, okay, that's your hook. That's one of the things that you're going to go to market with. The idea is it becomes so great that people then refer and say, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You know, use this, I'm using this tool. There is an equation, and it may or may not be in the coursework, that is, there is a formula that says if you talk to 100 people that use your app, and you ask them, what if I took away this from you tomorrow? And they're like, oh my God, that'd be horrible. Well, you know, what do I got to pay you to make sure you don't take it away? That is a quotient that basically says how sticky your stuff is. Okay. Now, from that aspect, I dealt with this in the accounting space, because everybody who has an accountant will usually stay with that accountant until that accountant dies. Okay. And most of the accountants now just like die at their desk. They don't retire. They don't sell their practice. They literally die on the desk. So from that aspect, you kind of want to develop that type of stickiness for your app. Whether it be a gimmick, like, you know, every time they open it up, it says, hi Bob, how are you? What can I help you with today? Okay? You would be amazed at the little things that make somebody use your app versus somebody else's that's in that same space for you. Okay? And for the love of God, do not, and we have somebody that's going to be a mentor that'll be doing a webinar at some point during your guys' cohort on pricing. Do not race to the bottom for price. If your app and what you're doing, you are only competing on price versus somebody else who's doing the same solution, it's not a solution. Stop. Okay? Create something that adds value that you can quantify to the people who are going to be using it. Okay. All right, next.
Hey, Matt Russell, founding Hey Legend. I have, for my exits, I have a North Star, which is inspired by my fitness pal. So for me, it's 5 years, 100 million.
Okay.
But I would happily take 10 million anytime. My wife would happily take 5 million. So, and then challenges. The first app that I'm going to try and launch for Hey Legend is to help generate workouts on the fly. So for the last week, I have been not sleeping very much because I've got to the point in development where I'm finally doing the workout generation, and it's been very painful. Which is good, because it means that the next person's going to find it hard too, hopefully. It's what one of my old bosses used to say. The good news is I'm seeing some light. It's getting to a point where it's actually generating workouts the kind of way I want them. There's still tweaks that need to be done, but I've got it on my phone and working at least to that point. So happy days.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So you're gonna see week to week, okay? You're gonna start to feel uncomfortable if you're not coming with challenges and shit you're trying to do and stuff that's breaking. If you get up and you're like, oh yeah, I had no challenges this week, nothing went wrong, okay, I'm gonna be making you do burpees in front of everybody. If you don't know what burpees are, look it up on the Google and you're like, yeah, I don't want to be doing that, okay? So from that aspect, one of the things we talked about earlier that I want to hit on real quick. So how many people in this room are not coders again? Raise your hand. Okay, awesome. How many people in this room are CPAs and accountants? Raise your hand. Okay. So, just like using
I got a
Lovable
beta
for
tester.
coding, okay, you're going to now be running a company, and you're going to have to know financial statements, pro formas, P&Ls, balance sheet, ROI, cash flow. And instead of you feeling overwhelmed that you don't know what any of these things are, there's Perplexity, ChatGPT. Pick the AI platform of your choice. Okay? Start learning it through there. Yes, sir.
So I have a question. So
Yep.
that's the one thing that I'm seeing as a founder, that it's so many different worlds that I have to go into. The financial space, now I gotta learn the buzzwords for that. The tech world, now I have to, like, it's so overwhelming, and I find that I have to stop and like readjust myself. And then, like, is that normal?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
because I'm like, I gotta readjust myself. I feel bad one day, and then I feel good one day, and
So from that aspect, my advice, take it for the nickel that it's worth, is you are walking in and going, okay, I'm the point person. Okay? I am leading a group of 30 people, and I'm going into enemy territory. Okay? The unknown, shit that needs to be fixed. Okay? And my team behind me that's making sure that a sniper doesn't take my ass out, okay, is every AI tool, every consultant, my mentor, the people in this class, and everybody that wants you to succeed, okay? And I know it may sound odd, but no one wants you to succeed, Tron, more than I do. Because there is a whole lot of people in this city, okay, that want me to fail, and I want to hang you up as the poster child of what can be done, okay? And it's one of those things, you didn't come from Silicon Valley, okay? Nobody gave you $100 million and went, hey, go build this, okay? You were like, here is a problem, I want to solve it, and I need all this information, and who are the people that are going to help me achieve that, okay? And I want to prove that if you don't have that, nothing against Harvard or Stanford or whatever degree, and you don't have, you know, a trust fund, and you don't have 50 million people that you can call on that can go, oh yeah, here's $50,000, go do this. I know this personally because when I started competing on the Olympic circuit for fencing, all of the people that I was competing against were the Stanford, the Harvard, the trust fund babies. I was sitting literally on a fencing strip competing against one of the guys that was sitting next to me. His last name was DuPont.
Oh, wow.
And he was telling me the woe of his life was trying to figure out what he wanted to do with his life, because he was a trust fund baby, was making about $1 million a year out of that trust, and he just had to find something to do to occupy his time.
wow.
To which point I'm scraping quarters out of couch cushions trying to get to competitions. I'm like, oh, your life is so hard. When we get on the strip, I'm going to beat the ever-living shit out of you. So from that aspect, yes, you know, feeling like you don't know what you're doing is literally a good thing. If you get comfortable that you know everything, okay, you're standing still. I tell everybody in all these cohorts, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. If you're in a room and you go, I'm the smartest guy here, you're in the damn wrong room, okay? If you sit here and go, I know everything and I got nothing to learn, you're not pushing the envelope, okay? You want to be that guy all the way in front, going, okay, headwinds, blizzard, all the water hitting me, and you're giving everybody behind you, hey, it's rough seas up here, okay? I'm gonna kind of tell you what it looks like, and then you guys behind me let me know what I need to do to keep pushing forward, okay? Okay. Who's next? Yep.
I'm Benjamin O'Brien. I'm building AntitrustNet, which the goal is timeless data provenance. My loss this week was moving, still is moving. That is my hell. I mean, literally. I'm more comfortable in the build than that and stuff. So, yeah, that's been taking up like almost all of my headspace.
Okay.
So that's been fun. But I also, in the mix of it, had probably the biggest breakthrough I might ever have. So that's good, and it solidifies the fact that I'm working towards the right thing and handles data provenance.
Fabulous.
And then my
Congratulations.
number, my original number I actually wrote on a $1 bill.
Okay.
2.63. It was a B bill. And that would be 1% of the market I'm going for, so RWAs, which is real world assets. And but yeah, so I don't really have much of an exit strategy other than that 2.6 billion by 2030, which would be like 1% of the market. But I mean, it's something that seems like genuinely boundless potential. So it's a matter of making it work.
Sounds good.
Fabulous.
All right.
Yes.
Couple more.
All right. Hurry up. I'm just kidding.
Worst news I could have heard. I was settled in for break.
Sorry.
Tom Crummins, everybody. I'm in the process of co-founding a company called Campaign AI. We are helping local candidates, underfunded candidates, and advocacy organizations that don't quite have access to power structures or the funds be able to produce content or digitally market pretty quickly using AI agents. A couple wins have happened this week. I just made the plunge. I'm doing this full time, so here we go. That's pre-revenue, so here comes the camera.
He's building the airplane as he's falling off the cliff, ladies and gentlemen. Yes.
Yeah, we can blame Tom Brown in the corner for steering that. And then some of the challenge, other win is we're about 50% to the MVP, so pretty close to having that move in the prototypes are looking good. We're really excited for it, so that feels great. Cons, I'm deep into issuing shares and getting the corporation part of it up and running, and it is taking so much longer to go back and forth with the lawyer than I was ready for, and I just want this part done. So holding steady there. Number, we are probably floating around the 200 million mark is what our cutoff would be. We're seeing 10.8 billion being spent just in the 2026 cycle alone. That is skyrocketing year after year, so we think there's plenty of room, and it turns out a lot of people pay money for politics when they should be paying it for
Everything
the
else.
people. So we'll see if we can do that.
Great.
That's my update.
All right, so we're going to take a 5-minute break. Bathroom. Yes, sir.
All right. How's everyone doing this morning?
Got up. I'm not in the desert. No one's shooting at me. Life is good.
All right, well, I'm Sheldon, founder and CEO of Cardinate, a relationship intelligence platform that combines ancient mathematics with AI to predict compatibility, romantic compatibility, and optimal timing.
Can I bring you to Vegas?
An exit number that I was thinking of while building Cardinate would be somewhere around $500 to $700 million based on my exit purchaser. I'm thinking strategically to market to Match Group, which buys applications like mine. And while building Cardinate, I'm also building an API integration that works for the businesses that Match Group owns in hopes that they would want to license the product that their company that they own uses. Basically, in doing that, I wanted to expand into the relationship intelligence LLM, build a large language model specifically for relationships, and coin it the love language model. I think that will have a defensible moat on having an AI that's not a general language model, but more focused on the relationship, the optimal timing, and how that all plays into how we understand each other and our partnerships, whether we're single or in relationships. Wins this week, I would say doing the week 1 course syllabus, I got to get challenged with getting ideas and coming up with new startup ideas. And one that was really, I was passionate about was lot vision, being able to render property on a vacant lot and land. And that kind of helped me with the framework of thinking how to come at building CardMate a different way, because I thought of the end game, but not really the front end and how it should be used for the user. Losses this week, I would say not getting really far on the parameter model for the LLM and integrating it with CardMate and how I launched them together. So CardMate has its own back-end infrastructure language model that works. Yeah.
Awesome. All righty, good job. All right, who's next? Where we leave off?
Thank you.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Taylor Chelstead, one of 2 co-founders of Ivy. My other co-founder, Eric Owens, is out of the Columbia cohort. Our company is Vivy. It's a digital-first platform for selling gold, jewelry, valuables. So easy payouts, fast shipping, and just transparent pricing. We've all been possibly to like a jewelry store or a pawn shop. They kind of make it opaque pricing, a little uneasy. We're here to just give you better payout options, including crypto with Bitcoin, stablecoin, your form of fashion. I'd say wins this week are definitely our entrepreneur program. So out of USC, we got free workers. We got some students.
Oh, there you go.
So we'll be able to tap into that. They're in the entrepreneur classes, so we're meeting with them on Thursday. Personally, I'm working on the operations technology side, so I've been doing some heavy lifting on the back-end development. Finally, saw the light at the end of the day yesterday, where I got a shipping label. So I mean, that's just such a small feat, but being able to finally like code everything and see it come on a screen for once is like a huge win, because we're about to launch what's called like our instant shipping model. Most of our competitors do a kit where it's like a 10 to 14 kind of clunky day process. You don't really know what you're getting. Ours is you ship it to us within 24 hours, you know what you're getting, right? You like it, if you don't, we'll ship it back. I'd say losses. I mean, are these kids ever going to go back to school? I mean, it's fine. It's the first day. You know?
Tom, have you been talking about it?
I only have a 13-year-old daughter, but she has tons of friends. I have like 4 kids always running around. Can we all remote school e-learn in your house? Like, so, I mean, I'd say I'm a pretty cool dad. Maybe probably not if you ask my daughter, but, you know, they were all having fun, and that's what it's about, right? I mean, you only get snow so often like this, so let them have fun. So wasn't able to dedicate as much time, but back to the real question, the evaluation. We're looking at 50 mil, targeting that. If you kind of take a step back, that whole valuable space, $52 billion gets inherited every single year. You'd be surprised 25% of that gets sold in 4 days after that will gets executed. So we're going after, given that modern day, you know, hey, what are we going to do with grandma's rings, necklaces? Let's go bivvy it. So, and maybe everybody in this room needs a little extra liquidity. Y'all can always bivvy it. We'll help provide that. And that's the coolest part about it.
I like the verbiage,
is
Vivian, like
that
Google it.
We're not buying a product from us. You're getting
Right.
cash or Bitcoin or whatever. So, and then as far as our target, there's a couple other ideas that we'll kind of reveal as things go, and I know everything's safe in this, but we're kind of still in the development of that. But essentially, we're targeting like payment rail type companies, like the Squarespace, all that type, as somebody to acquire us, or potentially Signet. They're like a big jewelry conglomerate. They own like Zelles and all that. So one of those guys to pick us up, 50 mil, maybe 7 years down the road. We want to try to give it a fair runway, but we'll take 60 bill in a year, like possible too.
So on that note, he brings up something. So sometimes the people that can help you scale your company, sometimes your exit is going to be somebody that's adjacent, not a direct competitor of yours. As an example, he brings up a point. So Tax Titans has a partnership with a company called Live. Live is a company that helps people create wills and estates and stuff. The reason that Tax Titans was approached to have a partnership with them is when unfortunately somebody dies, they still have to, believe it or not, file their final tax return. But the person responsible for filing that tax return is now dead. So now goes on to the family members and the estate to be able to file that. Now, like he just said, that I did not know, that estate goes, that person dies, 7 days, everything's liquidated, and they're looking to get rid of everything. So somebody that may wind up either acquiring or partnering up with his company might be, hey, we're dealing with all these people who have all these trusts as well. That would be a good place for Vivi to get introduced to those people. Say, hey, should the unfortunate thing happen, he gets a notification, Uncle Bob just died. Okay? They get a notification, hey, Vivi, we're here to help you. Okay? Liquidate the stuff. Make that transition for that loved one. I mean, everybody hears all the time that somebody lives in a house, they die, their kids don't want to live there, and they literally go, please, for the love of God, somebody buy this house so we can just split up the money. Okay? So as you're thinking about your go-to-market and who's going to help you scale the company and do the revenue thing so that you get a possible exit, okay, don't always think about the people you're competing against. Look to the people left and right. My own personal thing in fencing, when I wanted to open and run fencing schools in the United States, so we didn't get our asses kicked in the Olympics anymore, it wasn't like I could use the models in Europe because they were all subsidized. So all I did was like look at martial arts that was literally on every street corner that had a strip mall, had a Taekwondo place there. Took their business model and said, okay, instead of punching and kicking people, I'm just going to teach kids how to stab them. Okay, with the goal that they then went and got a college scholarship. So keep that in mind as you're building your stuff over the next 12 weeks, and you're figuring out how to do it. Sometimes it doesn't have to be necessarily something directly in your market. It could be adjacent, and try to take a look at what those are. All right, next.
Right, folks. So my app is a tool for production and manufacturing people that when they're collecting all this data and creating all this great dashboards, it helps point them in kind of the direction of what to do next, kind of where to focus their efforts. So I guess one of the wins, I think I've settled on a name. I think I'm going with Machine RX, with the idea being that it's supposed to be like prescriptive analytics that can kind of point you to how you can fix your problem. Another win on the week, so I've had kind of a straw man of what it is I want this all to look like, at least most of it. I was able to build most of that out in Lovable in just kind of an afternoon. So if you haven't used it, fairly straightforward, be very clear on your prompts. In terms of losses on the week, some of this stuff I haven't figured out yet, so like it's kind of been a smack with the reality stick of, oh crap, I've actually got to do this now. And so when I started down that path, like it was just taking way longer than I expected. My kids are grown, so I didn't have to worry about this. You said that, I was like, schools are closed this week.
I thought the same thing.
And okay, so the exit plan, if someone today were to come in and say, I'll give you X amount of money, like I think $5 million for me to walk away right now, or even just to like give them what I have today. Where I think this can grow to though, like between the different features and different ways I could see this growing, probably like in 10 years, like $20 million to like sell the company. Because I mean, right now, like my vision is start with one equipment, one machine or whatnot, but like grow out to be like plant-wide level analytics. So, yeah.
All right. You're up, young lady.
Okay. Hey, I'm Jordana. I'm with the Recon Network. That's not the name of our app. We don't know that yet. So challenges, kids, literally eating every little bit of bandwidth that they could. One came to me and was trying to sync a Spotify album with some movie that she heard about, whatever, anyway. So between that and personal issues, I have not gotten as far. Like, I feel really, really behind right now, but we'll get caught up. Wins, I actually was able to map out what I want this app to do. It mimics a lot of the pillars that we coach on. So we coach veterans who are in some sort of transition process, not necessarily out of service. But I was able to kind of pull the pieces that I want to have in the app, so I have a rough sketch of what all needs to be included. So that's, I guess, progress. The other challenge is that I didn't realize this at first, but I'm going to have to split. I was thinking the app would just be part of the company, and I'm realizing now that it needs to be its own little beast. And so I've got to start zero with that, and part of that is figuring out what belongs to what. Because if someone came in and offered me a bunch of money, you're not getting it all, because that was blood, sweat, and tears, and they can eat it. So that's my biggest challenge. If somebody was going to offer me a check today, I kind of did rough numbers, estimated I could probably make about $1 million a year off of subscriptions alone, very conservatively. And I really like the startup process, so it takes me about 5 to 10 years to get really bored. So I would guess around 10 million is a fair starting. But again, if they wait another 10 years to buy me out, it's going to go up. So I think 10 today, maybe 20, 50 later. But I think that's where I'm at.
All right, gentlemen, you're last.
All right, my name's Patrick Bailey. I'm co-founder of OnusLink with Seth. As a reminder, we are building AI automation for freight forwarding and international logistics, among other logistics services down the road. Vail this week is still overworked by my 9-to-5s. I've got 2 software contracts that I work full time on, and I don't have enough time to dedicate to the app, which is tough as the technical co-founder. I'm subsidizing Seth's time to work on the app. So on the internet, the kids refer to people with 9-to-5s as wage cucks, and I really, he sits next to me and does the job that I wish I could do. It's infantilizing, among other things. And anyway, wins. I've taken the programming to heart, the Launchpad programming to heart. That if you're not on the edge, you're taking up too much space, and so I've formalized an exit from my 9-to-5s.
Okay.
Which isn't today, but maybe a month from now. There'll be some movement there. And also another win, I installed OpenClaw, which is all the rave over the past week.
Jason talking all about it on
it's
the
an
podcast.
AI. I installed it because I heard Jason talking about it. But it's an AI personal assistant that you can chat with on any chat app. So Telegram, Signal, Slack, Discord, etc. So I can use my phone to just tell the app, hey, it's basically if I wanted to talk to Claude Code from my phone, Claude Code would do all the things on my computer. So I installed that beginning of class. It was all OpenClaw. So that's a big win. Hopefully it saves time, etc. But my exit number, this is not an Iraq war situation. There is an exit strategy.
Okay.
Oh, dear The way I approach this question is,
I love that analogy. I'm
how
gonna
much
use
would
that
I have to
tomorrow.
get paid in order to stop caring about this idea?
Yeah.
And I would take $10 million to stop caring about this idea. And I am glad that I went first before Seth, because I assumed he would have a much larger number. But that, well, he's probably got a more developed idea. But I mean, again, I approach it as, if I stop working on this idea, that means I get to work on
Other ideas.
half a dozen other ideas.
Yeah.
I don't care about those half a dozen other ideas more than this idea.
Gotcha.
So that was another part of the programming, is like, Jason interviews founders, and he knows within 5 to 10 minutes whether they're a legit founder, because he says, what else would you like to work on? And they have a list of ideas. I do not have a list of ideas. I have this idea is gonna work. It's great. It's the best idea. And that's why we're doing it.
All right, Seth.
Hi, I'm Seth, the non-technical founder of OnusLink. I am one of 3 founders, or we are one of 3 founders actually. In regards to the company itself, he did it well. We're a software company in the logistics network. So the logistics industry is a $70 trillion industry worldwide. The software element of logistics is about a $17 billion industry, so it's a much smaller portion of that $70 trillion overall. But $17 billion is still a pretty hefty price. In regards to wins and losses, I left Patrick's side at 5 p.m. yesterday. My greatest win of this past week happened at 6:30 p.m. yesterday, and my biggest loss and failure happened at 11:30 p.m. last night. It was a horrible and wonderful time. So when I left Patrick at 6:30, I got a phone call from someone I've never talked to. I have not actually talked to very many people about OnusLink. I don't know how people are finding me, but I got a phone call from someone in China who is the translator for a freight forwarding company in China that I've heard of before. They're a mid-sized Chinese freight forwarder, and they're very interested in OnusLink and the concept. I don't know how they heard of us, and I even asked Daniel. He says he has no clue. And I know you're not talking to people, so.
I installed OpenClaw.
Yeah, that may be it, brother. I got news for you.
So ultimately, we're getting a lot more traction than I thought of. But what that caused is it caused me to go into a mad rush. I was like, geez, I haven't done too much on the program itself this week because I've been learning how to vibe code better, because I am doing a lot of vibe coding. Actually, it's pretty much all I'm doing. And so I decided to, hit the ground running with the program at approximately 6:45 after that phone call. That phone call, by the way, is another scheduled phone call for Thursday night at midnight our time, because then that's early morning China time, with apparently the owner of that company.
My daughter will be awake, so I'll be able to join that.
Oh, fantastic.
She'll wake me up.
But then, so at 6:45, I started programming, great, until 11:30 when I broke everything. So I had to reset and just not commit any of that. I said, fuck it, it's too late. I've got to wake up at 5. Let's go. So I didn't technically do anything last night. It was great. But I did learn how to not break it next time. I think. My exit number is a very specific range of numbers. I'm the only person to give a range, or maybe I'm even wrong for giving a range. In 2 to 4 years, the exit would be $6 to $12 million with a 3% retention of equity retention or royalty. It could be offered either way. If it goes beyond that 2 years, beyond that 4-year mark, then anything beyond that would be probably roughly around a 12 to 24 million with either a 3% royalty / retention of equity or none. So the higher the number in dollars, the less the equity retention, the less the royalty. The lower the number, the higher the retention of equity, the higher the royalty. So 6 to 12 or 12 to 24.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Okay, so for the next half hour, we're going to go over some definitions and tools and stuff to help you push the rock uphill and move the needle, how we're doing with that. Okay, so nobody in this room gave me a number of 0. Nobody in this room told me that they're quitting. Multiple people in this room have told me that finding time to get stuff done is an issue. Everybody in this room would tell me there's not enough hours in the day, there's not enough days in the week. Okay? I'm going to start helping you fix that and start pushing back. How many people in this room, if I told you, I have an investor who wants to give you $1 million no equity to push your thing forward, and you have to be on the phone with them for an hour to convince them to give you $1 million. How many people would take that call? Raise your hand. Awesome. Every one of you between now and next week on your schedule has to put a dedicated time for you to have a planning and working session with the most important person on your team, you. You have to dedicate an hour, no kids, no spouse, no petting the dog, no going outside, cutting wood, okay, to work on your project. Every one of you have told me that your idea is worth millions of dollars. Every one of you just raised your hand and said that if someone was going to give you $1 million that wasn't taking any equity out of your company, you would take that call for an hour. Okay? So if those two things are true, you have to have the discipline to take an hour a day to work on what you are doing. If you are not capable of doing that, you do not have the discipline to get your exit strategy. Does everybody understand that? Okay? This is the tough love portion of this program. I am not here to pat you on the head, sunshine and rainbows. Okay? I am here to make you build a company, okay, that allows you to have the outcome that you just spent the time to tell me about. If you don't have the discipline to do that, you are not going to get that exit. Go take a W-2 job, have somebody tell you what to do all day long. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Okay? All right. Second thing, valuations and what you're asking for in a company. Okay? You're going to be talking to people over the next 12 weeks, 2 months, 2 years of what you're worth. And that needle is always going to change. Okay? Based on the industries that you're in, that multiple of what your company is worth to an outside buyer changes based on the industry that you're in. You're in tech. Okay? The reason that we just do tech is it allows me to focus on what certain things exist for you. The multiple of what your company is worth in the tech space is based on how much annual gross revenue that you do multiplied by a number of anywhere from 6 to, on the high end, 10. So as an example, if you do $100,000 a year in revenue, your company, if you exited, would be worth, at that point in time, between $600,000 and $1 million. Okay? Do the math from there. As an example, the accounting profession, which is the one that I have spent the last 4 years working in, has a multiple of no higher than 1. Right now, accounting firms, if they were trying to sell, would be lucky if they're getting anywhere from 60 cents to the dollar to 80, 90 cents. However, like I told you earlier, the stickiness of the customers stays with those accountants forever and a day. So you would think, okay, if I've got that much stickiness of the customer, and that customer is going to stay with the business, that they would turn around, and that multiple would be like 10 and 12 or 13. Well, the problem is the minute you remove the accountant out of that equation, okay, all of the people who were the customer go find somebody else. They don't stick with the buyer, okay? Which gets into the next point of what you guys need to learn is lifetime value of your customer, okay? Also connected with that, churn. Is someone going to use your solution once? Are they going to use it every week, every month, every year? That's going to help you model what your company is worth, what you forecast you're going to do revenue-wise, and how much it's worth when somebody else buys it. Because if they take you out of the equation and suddenly all the customers scatter like rats, then you can't really sell that company. You have to build your tech company so that you can remove yourself from it and it will function with another driver. Okay? If you don't do that and everything is dependent on you, it's not a scalable tech company and no one's going to buy anything for it. Now, lifetime value of the customer. How do I figure that out? That comes into you having interviews with people that are your potential customers. Hey, if you had a scheduling app, how often would you use it? Hell, I use it every day. Okay, me, Tom, probably half the people in this room have got like 9 different calendars and 9 different emails. Okay, love to have an app that like synced it all and I wouldn't have to worry about it. Okay. From that aspect, you need to have those conversations, not family and friends. There are 50 people in the community. Ask the questions. Okay? Everybody in the community that we have in the circle at is a person that you can ask the questions to. Okay? Now, during the course of this morning, I've heard some people here, we've heard some people in Columbia ask about in the app, where do I post what? Okay? What course, what area, how do I get things for people to give me responses? Okay? If you always post it in the what's new, that's like the top of the feed, and if it winds up there and it belongs someplace else, either me, Tom, or Lee, or somebody else in the community to go, hey, it'd be more appropriate if you put this over here. Okay? Don't not post something because you don't know where it's supposed to go.
I'm just laughing because I move them all the time. I don't even ask people.
Okay, see that? Tom is like, you know what? I'm the robotic guy. I just like, move it. It's like, where's my post? It's not there anymore. Okay, so one of the things that was not explained to me, and is not part of any of the courses that I've gone through that is quote unquote Launchpad and original, is I also, over between now and next week, I want you to figure out what your ideal co-founder profile is. If you had to work with somebody 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, what would that person look like? From a personality, work ethic, okay, sense of humor,
Not this guy.
political affiliation, okay? From that aspect, because these are the people that you're going to be working with that's going to help you develop this baby. Now, the reason that I say that is that is not sometimes your best friend, okay? Some of you people know my story. I had a co-founder with Tax Titans. That individual I knew for 15 years took $230,000 from the company and exited stage left, which then resulted in about $50,000 of legal fees of me in Greenville, arrest warrants, breach of trust, lawsuits, all that kind of stuff. So, on that note, as you're going and you're assembling your team outside of just you, a couple of pieces of advice from a retired recruiter. I am one of the individuals that was in charge of the team that moved Bank of America from California to Charlotte. Hugh McCall was like, here's a check for an ungodly amount of money for your team at Robert Half. Please move every executive from California to Charlotte. Okay? So, they trained me how to do recruiting the Robert Half way. Okay? So, the biggest advice that I have for you, no matter how close the person is to you, family, friends, guy you went to college with, whatever, the more that you know them, the closer they are to you, the more paperwork you need, not the reverse. Okay? And I'm not kidding. Okay? Get more paperwork, not less. All right? Anybody have any questions on that? All right, so he's getting ready to go. Before everybody leaves, we did not get a group photo last week. We're going to get the photo real quick from Lee before we do that.
Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You just reminded me. Okay, so do me a favor. Everybody run to the front outside. We're going to get the picture outside, and then everybody come back in. It's a fire drill. How quickly can we do this?
We're recording right now.
There you go.
Hopefully. My employer doesn't pay anything. This side of the life.
You're gonna hide in the back.
Six, one, half a dozen. Want it in front of the.
Just go there.
Okay,
Go down.
yes.
Yep. All right, go all the way there. Thank you all so much.
You're welcome, Taylor. Have a good one. If you need anything, just let me know.
Right there, yeah, right there.
Be the sort of guy.
Don't forget to talk about fun
Oh, you're there.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I was making this
So-
little
so-
step.
why it works.
As long as you got hands, we're good to go.
Actually, I guess you went.
All right, couple other things real quick, vocabulary wise. CAC, okay? Cost of customer acquisition cost, okay? You don't know what to charge, you don't know what price to do what you're doing unless you know the cost that it is taking you to provide that service, okay? So from that aspect, okay, if you're like, well, it's tech, okay, great. You know, you're paying rent, you have a salary, you have, you know, all of the software tools you're using, that goes into a bucket. And if you have one customer, that's what the cost is to that customer. Your goal is to figure out how many customers you need to make so that hopefully you get to the point where you're at least break even and then quote unquote scale from there. Tech is one of the few things that, okay, if my baseline cost is say $5,000 a month to be able to provide all these services, that can serve 4 million people, okay? You can't do that with donuts, coffee, you know, anything of a physical nature because every cost that you have associated with that physical product, you can only charge so much for somebody to go to the not gonna buy that. So you need to be able to have that conversation because anybody who's investing in your company, they're gonna go, great, you've got a strategy, you're gonna have all these customers, what is it costing you to get every one of those customers? Okay? And it might be, hey, I'm using Claude, I'm doing LinkedIn posts, I'm doing Google Ads, whatever that is, in addition to your overhead cost, is your customer acquisition cost. That is your free accounting advice for the day, okay? And then all of this information that you are getting between now and the length of 12 weeks, you need to start compiling, if you haven't done it already, a data room, okay? At the end of this class, at the end of this program, we have another program called Ignite. Part of getting into and invited into the Ignite program is you have a clean and organized data room. Now, what do I mean by clean and organized? For those of you who have had teenage children, this does not mean clean like I take all the dirty clothes and push them underneath the bed. Okay, that is not clean. We are talking drill sergeant mom clean. Okay, where they're taking a white cloth across the mantle and they're going, yep, it's clean. Okay, and clean does not mean you've got tons of shit in it. In the course, we'll go over the data room. It's also in, I forget which week it's in there, but you can Google it as well. Data rooms is kind of where your legal documents are, where your bank account is, what your marketing is, what your tech stack is, okay? So that somebody is investing in you has absolutely no clue about your industry and your vertical, can take a snapshot and go, oh, okay, I get it, okay? I am realizing every week how stupid I am because there are 20 of you, there's 20 in Columbia, and you guys are solving problems. I didn't even know some of these industries even existed, okay? But I'm in the middle of raising a $5 million fund, and they're gonna expect me to deploy capital to you. And in me doing that, I gotta be able to look at a data room and go, yep, I understand that, okay? And if I don't, then the person that I do understand is more eligible to get my check versus somebody else. You want to be in the front of that line, back line, unless you're bootstrapping. It's a whole nother story.
Actually, I got a question.
Yep.
Regarding that, in reading through some of the coursework, even if you are bootstrapping, is it smart to put together a pitch deck
Yes.
to help? Because I was thinking, I'm not asking for money.
Great question.
Okay.
There are multiple pitch decks. Okay. There is a customer pitch deck. There's an investor pitch deck. There is a co-founder pitch deck. There are a lot of people that you're going to be pitching and talking to jump on board the train that is your entity.
Okay.
Okay. Whether it be somebody using your program, an enterprise customer that's trying to get 4,000 of their employees to use your program. Okay. If it's not an investor, it may be a co-founder. You're like, hey, I need a development guy to be on my team. I need to have a pitch deck show them where I'm going, where the exit's going to be, and how it's going to go. So they throw in their shit with me instead of going taking that job at Google or Anthropic or pick your tech company. Okay. So having a pitch deck is great. And
real quick, I know we're all stretched thin for time.
Yep.
Not heard of Gamma, and that's one we need to get Aubrey on.
Absolutely. That thing's awesome.
Yeah, you can prompt it and create decks in seconds.
Okay.
So
What's it called?
not to like,
Gamma,
you don't want to
G-A-M-M-A.
use that with the maybe investor group, but to get those framework ideas,
right.
It looks super professional and clean. 10 slides are free. Outside of that, there's paid models, but prompt to these, if you've used it, that's why I would not waste my time on like nailing down the little weeds on that, Gamma, and you're
No.
And you
got
can
that
brand
time?
it.
Yeah.
Get it branded with all your stuff.
Yeah, Gamma.
So what I did with it was I fed a prompt into Gemini, and it gave me all the answers that I wanted to, and then I copied the Gemini answers into Gamma, and it created a 3-page PDF for me that I could give to customers.
Awesome. So, and that's, again, that example is why you guys were here in person. Okay. You really can't recreate that in Zoom as much as I have tried.
Yeah, no, Gamma's awesome. Yeah. So.
Okay, make sure I'm going through. Okay, so for those of you who are raising funds, talking of pitch decks, so on and so forth, that never ends. Okay, those of you who are pitching to get customers, that never ends. Which then brings me to who you are and what your main responsibilities are as a founder. 1, you are a leader. You may not consider yourself a leader. It is my job over the next 12 weeks to chisel a leader out of who you are. If you are feeling uncomfortable about being in a leadership position, that is where I'm going to force you to be uncomfortable. Okay? You are going to become the leader of your company. That is nothing, and I repeat, nothing that you can outsource. You are the head honcho, chief MF in charge, CEO, whatever title you want to use, mom, okay? That you are that person. The other thing that you cannot outsource, okay, unless you can replicate it, is sales. You are the #1 salesperson for your company. You cannot come up with this great idea, say, hey, this is going to work, and then not be able to sell it, okay? If you are uncomfortable doing sales, there are millions of programs out there, okay? I can recommend 3 or 4, okay? But the way that you have to envision what you are creating and what you're doing and the problem you're solving is you are not selling people, you are providing the opportunity to buy, okay? I hate to be sold. 99% of the people hate to be sold. But boy, I love to buy. Okay? I don't know a person that doesn't love to buy. Okay? Your solution, what you're doing, you have to create that so that someone is like happy to buy it. Okay? They're absolutely, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. Don't even know how I live without it. This thing right here, this Remarkable 2, okay? I would buy 9 of these. I love this so much. I bought one for Lee. I bought one for Jeff. Okay. Prior to this, I literally had journals. I looked like a librarian. Okay? longer. Okay, so you need to create that same type of thing for whatever you're doing. Alrighty. Loom. How many people have used Loom since I talked about it? Okay. My advice to you in that 1 hour that you're going to dedicate, take 2 minutes either before or after your 1 hour session and make a Loom video. What you did, what you accomplished, challenges that you're having. Someday, a year from now, 2 years from now, those Loom videos are going to be very important for you getting comfortable, because those are going to be your tutorials for you to be able to create the tutorials for the people using your stuff. How many people have gone to use a software program and it wasn't intuitive and you couldn't figure out what the hell you were doing? And you wish that you could go, I want to click on something and someone tell me what the hell I'm doing. 4 years ago, when I went to go help my buddy rescue his tax firm, I hadn't done somebody else's taxes in 20 years. Hell, he did all the taxes for all my small businesses, okay? So I jumped in, went to use Drake, which is the software program for taxes, and every page that I was on, they had a video button. And when I would sit there and get all the red X's because I was screwing up people's tax returns, I would click on that button and it would go, hi, we're here from Drake. You're probably wondering why you're getting these error messages. Did you do this in this box, and this number in here, this, that, and the other thing? I was like, oh, thank God for you people, okay? That is literally my experience in stepping into the tech world. And the bad news for everybody else ever since that experience is they are now measured against that. And I'll be using software, whether it be Lovable or Notion and this, that, and the other thing, and I'm dumb, okay? I am not a techie. I get lost in the weeds so damn fast, it's not even funny. And I'm looking for where the hell is the video at? So then I'm going, okay, maybe somebody else has used it and made a YouTube video, okay? You want to make your solution that intuitive, and the best way to do that is with Loom videos. The reason is somebody watches your video, they still have questions, you haven't answered the question, they can put a response in there. And they go, hey, this was a great video and they showed me how to do this, but what about this and this and this and this and this? And they have just given you the roadmap for what you need to be able to build and do. Okay? Last topic, roadmaps. You guys are building a tech company. One of the partners that we have is Worthwhile. Worthwhile is a great company, okay? I have taken a majority of the $4 million that I've raised over the last 4 years and provided a lot of people's salaries over at Worthwhile. They provide a free service for everybody that's in this cohort for sitting down with you, listening to you, articulate what you're building, what you want to do, okay? And then build a tech roadmap for you of what you should do and how you should do it. Jeff, all the way in the back, just went through that process. Jeff, how was it?
It was great. And that tech map is amazing. I mean, it was definitely a good roadmap and some things I didn't think of. And so yeah, it was really, really amazing.
It's free.
Yeah.
They're not going to steal your idea.
It's a couple hours. So.
A couple hours, okay? But they're awesome, okay? So take full advantage of that.
What was it called? Tech map?
It's a tech map. I call it the treasure map between where I am sitting in the boat with an oar and then that exit strategy where the chest has got all the gold and jewels. They're like, instead of me like going through all the storms and all that kind of stuff, it's a map, okay? Straight line. Here you go. So they create that tech map, which some people call tech stack, so on and so forth. Now, and again, it's a suggestion, okay? It's another set of eyes for people that do this literally for hundreds of people every year, okay? You know, instead of you making all the mistakes, they've seen all the mistakes. Learn from somebody else's mistake. It's a lot cheaper.
And it gives you confidence for your business too. I gain a lot more confidence in GeoPlayer with this. So.
How do we sign up?
I was going to say, is that accessible through
Yeah, right
Circle?
in the Circle app.
Right in the Circle app? Okay.
Yep. Just go into the app. Hey, you know, Worthwhile. If you
It's
have
called
any
Worthwhile.
problem, reach out to Lee.
I'll move it under perks.
Okay. And then final note. Okay.
Mentors and weekly updates.
Okay. Mentors. In order for us to assign you the mentors, we use AI tools. So your mentor survey and stuff that Tom has put into the community, you need to fill out, okay? Again, if you do not do that this week, okay, the other wonderful things that the military has trained me to do to motivate you, you will experience next week, okay?
Lieutenant Ballistic is not fun, okay? So if he starts down that road, we're not gonna be able to pull him back, just so you know.
Okay. What was the other thing, Tom, besides mentor? Mentor, okay, so that's the mentor. Founder Friday, we're hosting here tomorrow. No, Friday. What day am I at? Okay.
We got one more cohort to go.
Yeah. So come by, pizza, beer. If you know any other entrepreneurs, they don't have to be tech. Founder Friday, bring them along, okay? People that are not allowed to come to Founder Friday are people that are selling used car insurance, an extended warranty, life insurance, anything that is a product. It is a safe space for you to come, talk to other entrepreneurs, you know, living the life of an entrepreneur. It's kind of like a recovery process for addiction. Okay, so it's
The link is in the Circle app. You don't have to stay all night. It starts 5:30 to 7. Todaro's Pizza is our sponsor. Fabulous pizza if you haven't had it. There'll be beer and pizza here. So we get a very interesting crowd. So if you have time, stop by. Bring business cards.
Yes.
If you have them.
And on that
one
note,
pager.
everybody should have a 30-second, one-sentence pitch of what you do. Okay, if you can't communicate what you're doing in one sentence, you're doing too much. Alrighty, let me sure.
Cherish has already accepted that she
So-
will be here. She's big in the Greenville community.
If you've been hearing the word Circle app, and you don't know what that is, come on.
Yeah.
If you've heard of the weekly update, but you haven't filled it out or don't know what it is, come see me. And if you don't know what your mentor preference survey is, come see me.
And then final thing I'll leave you for this note. So in Jason's first video, he talks about how you're doing 100 things as a founder. You're going to feel like you're drinking from a fire hose between now and the end of time. One thing that allows me to do everything that I'm doing is the military has spent literally hundreds of thousands of dollars teaching me how to do one thing and do one thing well. That everybody in this room needs to develop the skill to do and the confidence to be able to do. And that is delegating. Okay? If you do not delegate everything that you can and you hold on to it and not give it to somebody else, you're wrong. Okay? You have to feel comfortable delegating tasks to people and understand that they're only going to get about 40 to 50% of it done. And you have to be okay with that. No one is going to work as hard as you. That is a given. The reason that you want them to be delegated those tasks and hopefully get 40 to 50% of it done is the amount of time that they get 50% of it done is time that you get back that you need. Okay? If you're trying to juggle all of the things, ride the unicycle, wash the dishes, do the kids, everything like that, you will crash and burn, and you will burn out. That is not healthy. Okay? Delegate, delegate, delegate. There is an awesome book about leadership and delegating. It's called Wisdom of the Bullfrog. Okay? Retired Admiral McRaven. Okay? He is the famous guy that says, make your bed every morning so you at least know that you've accomplished one task. And then one task leads to accomplishing another task. Leadership and delegating is very simple. However, it's very hard to do. Okay? So, if you're looking for something to read, to chew on, to develop yourself,
In your
highly
free
recommend
time.
the book. Not only that, but let you know, every entrepreneurial book, everything in tech, everything about raising money and stuff, there is a library in that back room. Okay? I have read every one of those books over the last 4 years. I have read more books on this shit over the last 4 years than I did my entire time in college. Okay? Some of them I had to read twice because I'm not really that smart. Okay? So from that aspect, feel free to peruse there. If you do read a book and you're like, hey, that was really helpful, please let me know what those are. Now I'm in that process of taking everything that's out there and trying to regurgitate it to you guys. All right. As I used to say in Hill Street Blues, let's be careful out there. Let's not get shot, run over, run into a snowbank.
We hope to see you for Founder Friday.
Hope to
It
see
was
you
a
guys
fun
on Founder
time.
Friday. Yep. All right. You're
Have a
welcome
good
to stay
weekend.
as long as you want. The bar is open.